Greetings comic book fans, my name is Jason and welcome to my comic book reviews for the third week of July 2015. This week I've got 12 books to review, so without further ado, let's get to those reviews. So we're going to kick things off with Marvel, and we have 4 books this week to review from them, all in some way kind of Secret Wars related. Kicking things off, first off, we have Silver Surfer issue number 14, which kicks off the last days of the Silver Surfer. I don't know if all these last days books, I know all the books are restarting anyway, like some of them are coming back, but is this one of the books that's going to come back? Or is like the last days mean that it's the last days for them characters in their own books? I don't know. But I'm really super enjoying this. You can really see the influence of Doctor Who on Dan Slott, who's a massive Doctor Who fan. And you can see that in this book with a lot of the things that he does in here. This issue we have Dawn and Silver Surfer at last together. And she wants to go back to Earth, but the long way round, revisiting all the people that they've seen. So they go and revisit all these people. And it's really great to re-see characters that we saw earlier in this series. And then they come to a bit where the universe starts like being destroyed, and Silver Surfer tries to get them to safety, and the end gets really quite trippy at the end, but a really great reveal on the last page, and I'm really excited to see where next issue is going to go. As always, the art and the colour here from Mike Aldred and Laura Aldred are fantastic, and just give it a fantastically unique kind of feel. I'm loving how Dan Slott's writing the Surfer. He's become one of my favourite Marvel characters, and if they do not relaunch this series and bring it back, I'm definitely going to go back and check out the old stories, because Silver Surfer's become a character that I really like. Yeah, and also I love what's going on with the board. I like that they've given his board a character as well. Very much like in Doctor Who, the TARDIS is almost as much of a character as the companions. And I like that they've added that into this. And all in all, this was a another really fun, enjoyable issue. And I give Silver Surfer issue number 13 5 stars out of 5. So next up, we've got our like Secret Wars books now. We got Where Monsters Dwell issue number 3. One of the things I really do like about this book is it keeps you on your toes with the characters. Like the first issue, we thought that Carl was going to be the hero and Clemmy the heroine who needs saving. And then he was shown to be a jackass, a cowardly jackass at that. And she kind of became this callous kind of hero of the book. But you could kind of understand why she was callous, because he was such a jackass. And if you're stuck with somebody that amount of time, you kind of patience wear thin. But this issue kind of, they switch, and you kind of, Kemi is much less a sympathetic character in this issue, and even though Carl is still a jackass, you kind of sympathise with him a bit. Some of the stuff that happens is hilarious and funny, and then there's other bits of the book where you really feel for him. And I like how the writer here, Garth Ennis, is really keeping you on your toes with the characters. In many ways, this book feels like a love child of an Indiana Jones film, and of a film called Carry On Up the Jungle. For those outside the UK, I don't know if you know what Carry On films were. For those of you that don't, there were these British films that ran, I think, from the 60s to the 70s, and it had an ensemble cast. Usually the same actors would come back and play different parts, but each film had a kind of general theme, like you'd be set in a hospital or in the jungle, or you know, or on a campsite or on a holiday, and it would, the characters, and you'd have stuff from that, different kinds of humour, double entendres, you'd have slapstick, different kinds of humours all kind of thrown in there. The film started off really good. Towards the end they got a bit ropier, as the writers, I think it was 2 writers who wrote the whole series, and they kind of, towards the end, the jokes got a bit, and it was very much by the end of its time, like some of the humour wouldn't translate today because it would be considered sexist, particularly the portrayal of women in the films. But some of those earlier ones, they're comedy gold, and this like reminded me like Up the Jungle, Carry On Up the Jungle, which is practically the same kind of storyline as they get captured by this tribe of women. So it's kind of the same story, but you throw in like Indiana Jones with the action and adventure, and it's kind of, that's where I mean it's like the love child. But I mean really enjoying this, and like I say, it keeps you on your toes character wise, because you kind of change your perspective, and where it ends up is really looking bad for Carl. So I'm going to give Where Monsters Dwell, issue number 3, 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Years of Future Past, issue number 3, and as you can see from the cover, it is dragons versus sentinels as it promised last issue. It ends up being a dragon battling an army of doom sentinels, which is still really cool, but it's not the there's a whole army of dragons here, which would have been even cooler. This book though, I jumped on it last week, and I read the first 2 issues, and this week I picked up 3 and I'm really enjoying it. It's one of those that, like, if you think it's going to be a continuation of the original Days of Future Past, you're going to be wrong. It's kind of a story with those characters, but in a different story, and like, it might be set before, it might be set after, if this world has survived. Well, no, it can't be, because they were killed in Days of Future Past, but if you try not to figure out where it fits in, and you just enjoy the story with these characters that we would have liked to have seen more of, and that's what I'm doing, and I've found since I've done that, I've really enjoyed it. This issue we get the drama as Cameron, we have the mystery of who his mother is, it's revealed, and that kind of we get this family drama in Mink's this dystopian kind of future, and it just grounds it, and it's really good. I did feel at the end of the issue where we jump from this family drama to them kind of breaking into this prisoner of war camp, I found that was a bit of a jump too quickly, how we went from one to the other, where we're kind of still reeling from the other. But that might be just the constraints of it's a mini-series, so it needs to get things done quick. But I'm still really enjoying this, and I give Years of Future Past, issue number 3, 4 stars out of 5. So our final book for this part of the reviews, Planet Hulk, issue number 3. This was again a lot of fun. I feel the problem with this book for me is, whereas like Years of Future Past is using some of the characters from Days of Future Past, so at least it's related somehow, and same with Age of Apocalypse. This has no characters at all from the original Planet Hulk, and it's just the name is so misleading. I 100% understand where Marvel are coming from calling it this, because people are more likely to pick it up if they give it a new name like Highland Hulk. But at the same time, it'd be interesting how much the second issue did. After the first issue, people were like, well, this isn't none of the characters from Planet Hulk, so what's going on here? But anywho, I'm still really enjoying it. Devil the Dinosaur is just the best, and if I get either a Devil the Dinosaur or a Man-Bat for Christmas, I'll be very, very happy. Doc Green is just a natterer, but he's really given us all this info about this island, and I really like how we've got these different Hulks, like the tribal Hulks, and we've got the sea Hulks, and we've got these plant Hulks, and the imagination in this has just been brilliant, and how they've come up with it. In fact, what I did really like is they put in the back, the artist just talks about how he came up with the designs for the different Hulks, which I really liked. With no letters page, I thought that was a really good use of the last page, and I found it really interesting, the whole thought process that went into creating these Hulks. I love the flashbacks that Captain America has to he and Bucky being picked for the Super Soldier program, and I like the idea that there's this other world where instead of Steve just being picked to be a super soldier, they were both picked. So I really like that, and I'm intrigued. I think I'm more intrigued with Captain America's past in this than what's going on in the present, even though the stuff in the present is fun. But still a really fun read, and I give Planet Hulk issue number 3 4 stars out of 5. So that's Marvel. Next up, we go to the Indies. So now the Indies, and only 2 books this week for the Indies to review, and both of them from Valiant. First up, we have Book of Death issue number 1. This is their new event, and hats off once again to Valiant. We get like a cardboardy cover, a nice like introduction inside to all the characters we're going to be seeing, and in the back, as well as the usual stuff we get in the back, we also get some sketches, which is always a really cool thing to get. This book is kind of the follow-up to The Valiant, which was their last big event earlier in the year, and it kind of deals with, we had Tama, she's this geomancer from the future. The geomancer is this guardian of Earth who can kind of understand what the Earth says, and the Eternal Warrior, he kind of does her bidding, kind of does what needs to be done to protect the Earth. But she's from the future, and we have from the present, we have a young boy who also is a geomancer, because there's only supposed to be one, but because she's from the future, we've got one in the present as well. He seems to be manipulated by some dark, shadowy character, and using his abilities to like kill and massacre people. Unity think that it's Tama. So Eternal Warrior is like protecting Tama, not just from this other geomancer who wants her dead, but also from his former friends who think that they are to do with what's going on with all these massacres. So yeah, that's in a gist of what's going on here. The one problem I had with this was like right in here it says like in kind of setting up your story, giving us the information we need so far. It kind of sets up that there's trouble within Unity, that Eternal Warrior and his teammates are kind of at odds because of Tama, and I'm kind of, we haven't seen none of that in Unity's main book. I'm like, this is something that's totally new, and they're saying like it's been going on for months, and that's where like I can understand with Marvel, when you've got so many books, it's difficult to kind of manage that kind of stuff, or more difficult. But with Valiant, sorry, they only have 9 books, and the one book that relates to this is Unity, and we've seen no kind of division in the team over Tama. I don't think Tama's even been in Unity. So it's something that for me it just seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. Like, what problems? We haven't seen Unity having any problems, and so that was something I think could have been better planned out by Valiant, to at least show us, for those of us that are reading all the books and investing in this universe, that they show us in their old book that yeah, there is trouble, and then when you get this event you're like, oh yeah, we saw the seeds of that been planted in their own book. That for me would have helped. The other thing I didn't like here is Ninjak. He's totally different. What's up with Ninjak? He doesn't seem like Ninjak at all. And why has he got such a big problem believing that Tama's from the future? All the things that they've seen in the books that they've just in Unity, let alone what they faced in the Valiant, is it so difficult to imagine that you're gonna have somebody that can travel time? So I couldn't understand what Ninjak's problem was, and he seemed to be totally a different character than we usually read, which was really odd. The art as well here wasn't as great as I would have expected. I'm not stating to hate, I'm just expressing my opinion, and I did not like the art. I didn't think it was up to the standards we've come to expect from Valiant. However, there was also a lot of good in this book. I may seem to be really negative, but there was a lot of good. I love when they have this one bit where they have the book of the Geomancer, where she basically, it's everything that happens, and she reads in this book, and I'm telling you, it's that kind of thing that as fans of the Valiant universe we're going to be poring over for years to come, trying to figure out like, oh, what's this mean, what's that mean, and where's that going. Really cool stuff, really cool insight that I really liked. I also really like when the Geomancer attacks the Tama and Eternal Warrior. I thought that was very well thought out, and I really liked that whole sequence. And the story, the central story, is very easy to follow, even if you've not read a Valiant book before. Eternal Warrior is trying to protect Tama from this other Geomancer and from his former teammates. It's a very simple story to follow and to get into and to, understand. So that makes it an easy book to kind of jump on and be introduced to these characters. I thought was really good. So yeah, I'm going to give this book 3 stars out of 5. That's not that it was a bad book. Like 2 stars I always think of is like there's a little bit of good but mostly bad, and 1 star is just it's all bad, avoid. But 3 stars I always look at it's still a good book. There's still a lot of good here, but there were a couple of things I had problems with, but it evens itself out and it's still a good book, and that's what I'd say. And the thing as well with Valiant is usually their events and their series, they get stronger as they go on. So I think this book is only going to get better. So yeah, book of Death issue 1 gets 3 stars out of 5. We then have Dead Drop issue number 3, which I was a bit nervous about because I didn't enjoy the last issue, and I was a bit like, I don't know, is this series going to get back on its feet, or is it just out for the count? Fortunately, it gets back on its feet this issue. We're introduced to a character called Betamax, and he's really cool. I really liked him. He was very endearing. He's this guy who wants to be a secret agent, and he's part like cyborg. He's kind of like part cyborg, and he's a cyborg. I don't think he can be part cyborg in it. I think cyborg by definition, I think he's part human, part robot, which is what I mean. So he's part robot, and he gets called in by Neville Olcott, and it soon turns out that this Neville Olcott is just somebody impersonating him, and is in fact an alien. And I actually really love the alien because he looks alien. He is terrifying, but it looks like, so often the aliens, they don't look alien enough, but he looks totally alien to anything we know on in our world. So I like that a lot. We get a lot more backstory about who's after this virus and why they want it. That was really cool. And I really like Betamax, and was really heartbroken with the way this issue goes. But he turns out to be the biggest hero we've met so far, and I really enjoyed this, and I wasn't expecting that. And maybe that's why I enjoyed it more, because I just was expecting to kind of be like, oh god, here we go, let's get through this, and to get into it and really like it and enjoy it. Like, especially when you open up that first page and you see this character, you think, okay, this isn't going to go good. Another thing I really like is on the inside cover here, we have each place where we have the different dead drops and what page of the issue gets to that part. So I thought that was really cool as well. But yeah, this was a really good issue, really enjoying it. I'm going to give Dead Drop issue number 3 5 stars out of 5. So next up, it's the reviews from DC Comics. So now DC, and we've got 5 books from DC Comics to review this week. Kicking things off, we have Robin, Son of Batman, and it's a $3.99 book, yeah, but it does feel quite thick, and that's one thing with DC. It does feel like you get your money's worth if you're buying a $3.99 book. Like with Marvel, I don't think there's page-wise there's any difference between a $2.99 or $3.99 book. It's just you get that digital download. But with DC, I think you definitely get those, or at least this issue feels like you get those extra pages. This book I'm really enjoying. I went into this series unsure what Patrick Gleason would be like as a writer, and he's writing Damian brilliantly well. That arrogance that he has comes across when he's around new people, but at the same time, because that's kind of like his shield, isn't it? It's like this arrogance, bravado that he brings on. It's kind of his shield when he's around people. But at the same time, you can say that there's a good kid underneath that, and that's what makes him endearing as well, and makes his character, like, he could easily in the wrong hands be a totally annoying character that you didn't like, but that endears him, that goodness. I'm loving what we're finding out about the Year of Blood and about Damian's whole redemption mission. Also like what they're doing with Nobody, and I think there's some interesting directions they can take with her, that I'd be very intrigued to see where they go. The art here I thought was really good from Gleason. There's some really great standout moments for him. We don't get enough of the Man-Bat. That's my only gripe, because I love the Man-Bat. But the whole this issue was a lot of fun. Really enjoying this story, and I give Robin, Son of Batman, issue number 2, 5 stars out of 5. Another great issue. Next up we have Martian Manhunter, issue number 2, and some things are becoming a lot clearer in this issue. That Martian Manhunter's memories were suppressed, so he thought he was the last Martian, but he's not, and he's kind of been kind of the advanced attack for this, invasion. We have the Justice League guest star in it, or at least 4 members of the Justice League guest star in this issue, as Martian Manhunter decides the only way to kind of stop him from doing what he doesn't want to do, but what he's been programmed to do, is to destroy himself, and the Justice League tried to stop him, and that brings him to odds, and we have some great moments as he fights the Justice League. And we get to see this character Pearl, and this thief who witnessed an alien killing somebody else, and she's been chased. And then we also see this strange character, Mr. Biscuit, who more and more, I heard last issue some people say they thought that was Martian Manhunter, and I think more and more where the story's going, I think he could end up being Martian Manhunter. But all in all, I'm really enjoying this book, and I thought that the fight with the Justice League was just phenomenal. We still have a lot of separate stories that we don't quite see how they're tied together yet, but I think what gets you through this issue at least is the great action with the fight, and the rest is kind of intriguing. So we're going to give Martian Manhunter issue number 2 4 stars out of 5. Next up we have Black Canary issue number 2, which I again really enjoyed. I love that in the middle of the book we get this kind of poster like you'd get in a music magazine, kind of introducing the band. So I really like that. That made him like kind of feel like an authentic kind of band. We get less of the music scene this issue and more of Black Canary teaching the band how to defend themselves in case one of those creatures comes for Ditto. We get to meet the former lead singer of the band, and then we get a nice little kind of twist at the end, which I also really enjoyed. All in all, this I think it still remains a really good book. I'm really enjoying it, and I give Black Canary issue number 2 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have our penultimate DC book. It is Superman Wonder Woman issue number 19. It kicks off with Superman and Wonder Woman battling the Suicide Squad, which is really cool. And art wise we have this really cool moment at the front of the book there as they're going into battle with the Suicide Squad. I really like how Peter Tomasi writes Harley Quinn. The way he writes the dialogue, it really reminded me of the animated version from the Batman animated series. The way she talks, I could just hear that character's voice in my head. I was like, ah yeah. And I've not read a great lot of Harley Quinn, but the other times I've read her, I've never had that before. And so I liked how Tomasi wrote her in here. The art by Doug Mackey is brilliant. I'm loving the story, how Wonder Woman's all protective over Superman because he's got diminished powers, but he doesn't want her to be distracted because it's going to get her hurt. So there's a real nice kind of thing going on here that I really like, and I think it's making their relationship more real and more stronger. And we've got the mystery of like, who is it that got the Suicide Squad and Amanda Waller to try and take out Superman? What's the mission? Because there's something going on here deeper, like that why they keep attacking Superman, and we kind of haven't quite got the reveal of what that is yet. But I'm really enjoying this series. It's been really good. Glad I jumped on it. I'm really enjoying all this like story arc that's carrying on through Superman at the moment, and I'm intrigued to see where it's going to go. And I give Superman Wonder Woman issue number 19 5 stars out of 5. So our final DC book of the week, it is Justice League issue number 42, and this was just phenomenal. It went very close to be my pick of the week, but it ultimately didn't quite get there. But it was just another excellent issue, and this book has gone from one of those books that was on my pull list that I was always kind of looking at, maybe I'll drop, but now it's one of my favourite books. Since the Amazo virus, it's just phenomenally consistent. We have part 2 of the Darkseid War this issue. Not as much action as the last couple of issues, but what we get here is a lot more story development, a lot more kind of giving us who these characters are and how they all fit together in this story. I'm loving the interaction between some of the characters, the interactions between Superman and Lex Luthor, between Cyborg and Shazam. I think Jeff Johns is doing a great job there. The art in here by Jason Fabak is just gorgeous and so consistent from issue to issue. There's just so many great moments art-wise that I just absolutely love, and it's just a really great series right now. I'm really loving Mr. Miracle, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. But like I said, this issue is the issue where we kind of start to get some answers into seeing what's going on here and it all fit together. And the last page, holy bat god, the last page is a real doozy, and has me super excited for the next issue. Just loving Justice League at the moment, and I give Justice League issue number 42 a 5 stars out of 5. So those are my reviews. Next up, we've got the pick of the week. So my pick of the week for the 3rd week of July 2015 is Hawkeye issue number 22, the final issue. When I picked this up, I didn't realise it was $4.99, so I got kind of a bit griped. But it is a thicker issue, and the other thing about it is it's all story. There's no kind of like, oh, we're going to do this side story here, or you get art and we're going to charge you more for this stuff that's extra. But if it's extra, why am I paying more? If it's like extra, I always look at it as being a bonus. And like, so it's bonus material. Shouldn't a bonus material, if you have to pay extra for it, is it still a bonus? But anywho, I totally forgot about the price once I read it. It was just glorious. It reminded me of why I love this series so much. It's fantastic. It didn't skip a beat either. It was easy to get right back into. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Some great moments for both the Hawkeyes. Everything seemed to get resolved and tied up, which I really liked and really enjoyed. And it was just a joy. From beginning to end, it was a joy. Seeing this team together again, and the minimalistic art and colouring, but just an effective storytelling and character building, and journeys that these characters go on as well, and how much we cared about all of them was fantastic. And I just really enjoyed it. And I was kind of like, when I picked it up, I was kind of a bit nervous, because like, one, was it going to be as good as I remembered, and two, was it really gonna work? We'd like, the last issue been so long ago, was this gonna work? And I needn't have worried, because this was just superb. Fantastic ending to the series. Sad that it's gonna go, but it really goes out on a high, and it's that rare thing. It was worth the wait, and there's not many things you can say in life are worth the wait, but this was. And yeah, Hawkeye issue 22, excellent end to the series, and it's my pick of the week. So here we are at the end of my video, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for Company of the Week. For those of you new to my videos, welcome. But what Company of the Week is that each week I say take the Marvel books, I add the scores I give them together, divide by the number of Marvel books I've read, and gives me an average score for the books. I do the same with DC and the Indies, and this gives me my Company of the Week. So in third place this week, though they did only have 2 books, it's the Indies with 4, an average rating of 4, just 4 on the nose, which, like I say, it can be a blessing or a curse to have just 2 books, because like, if you have 2 strong books, it means you're going to get easier to get the perfect score, but at the same time, it's harder to get an average because you've only got the 2. So if you've got one bad and one good, the bad one's going to hurt your overall score more. In second place, last week's Company of the Week, it is Marvel with an average rating of 4.4. So our Company of the Week this week are DC Comics with a 4.6 average rating, which was a good week. They were like, I think out of the 5 DC books I read, 3 of them got 5 stars. So that really helped them be Company of the Week. I was hoping to do a review for Harrow County, but I'm waiting on issue 2. I got issue 3. I got issue 1, which I've read issue 1. I enjoyed. So I'm thinking I'll probably do a video when issue 2 comes. I'll probably do a review on the 3 together. The other book I picked up Injection, issue number 2. I've got 1 and 3 coming in the post. So once I've read all 3 issues of that, I might do another video on them as well, reviewing Injection. Oh, the big news is, well, my haul video should be up Wednesday as usual, but my review video next week will be late. It's the wife and I's wedding anniversary, so we're going away for the weekend, and we come back on Monday. We leave on a Saturday, come back on the Monday, so, you know, there's no way I can see myself getting a review done because I'd have to have it recorded and uploaded on the Friday. That really gives me like the Thursday to read all my books. I can't see that happening. So it's probably going to be some point next week. You know, earliest would be Tuesday, but it could possibly be later, depending if I've finished all my books by the time we go away. Yeah, we'll see. But so my reviews next week will be late, but there will be a review video up. Thank you everybody for watching. Please, if you've enjoyed my video, give me those beautiful thumbs up. All it leaves me to say is that I've been Jason. This has been my comic book reviews. Bye for now.